Hey everybody, Kaoiji here. So there are a couple things that I learned while playing the demo of Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy Origins that I think all of you guys should know before the release of the game. One of the first things is that this game uses a dual job system. So what that means is you could basically have two jobs available to you on the fly at any given time. Using the battle settings menu, you can go over to the jobs tab and it'll allow you to select from any of the available jobs that you have unlocked. From here, it's just as easy as going and selecting the job. And then what's another cool feature is that the advanced jobs will have all of the available weapons from the previous job. So for example, Berserker needed swordsman to be able to unlock. You can now use great swords and battle axes on Berserker. It'll automatically default to the highest available item level weapon that you currently have. So for me, it's great sword, but we're going to switch back over to battle axe. Now, the game also uses what's called an affinity system. Basically, this allows you to be able to get special effects from using your gear that match the affinity of your class. Affinity can also be locked from the job tree, but I'll show you that in just a moment. Now, affinity can be used in a variety of ways. So for example, if I wanted to gain the skills that I would normally get on Samurai, I can then have that, assuming that I can get 400% affinity on my monk, or the same thing that would be available if I had affinity from Lancer. So there's a lot of ways that you can mix and match and make your desired class using this system. Now, the way that I will choose to use affinity is by not trying to gain 400% in each of my available classes. But I'm more than likely going to wind up doing when the main game launches is finding the best skills to be able to take from each of these affinity gauges. So for example, as of right now, I'm currently using 80% from Monk on the demo, which gives me a whole bunch of break, also gives me 25 HP, strength, stamina, and agility, and even continues that going forward. And then also I'm using 50% on Berserker, which gives me break recovery bonus +1, which refills my break gauge based on my damage dealt. So the affinity gauge system will be able to be used in a variety of different ways to be able to help you min-max your entire playthrough. Now, as I was saying a moment ago, affinity can be given to you on gear, but it can also be given to you on the actual jobs themselves. So every job will have skills that are signified by the weapon plus an up arrow, which will increase their natural affinity. And since all of these skills stack, it helps to be able to give me the 80% that I have on Monk without needing to wear any of the gear that I have available to me for Monk. Now, that affinity will only be usable if you have that job set as either one of your classes. As your main job, you'll get the maximum bonus of that affinity, and as your sub job, you will only get a small percentage. But that's not all. Affinity is not the end-all be-all to the game. Using the job tree menu that we have as well, you can learn certain command skills to be able to further augment each of the classes that you wind up playing. You'll be able to find command skills that are signified by this diamond ability here. If you notice that when I swap off of this, there's a blue diamond skill. These are command skills that you're able to learn and then use on every single class going forward. So for example, Ronin has a skill that I really enjoy called Summon Tachi, which temporarily increases damage taken and damage dealt. As you can see, I no longer have Ronin as in my main or sub job, but I do have the skill learned under my command abilities. This allows me to use that skill even though I'm no longer using that job and still be able to take the benefits from it as well. So I've learned that there are a couple of skills that I think that you should go for at the beginning of your playthrough depending on your playstyle. And those skills are Summon Tachi off of the Ronin skill tree, Blood Weapon off of the Marauder skill tree, and Lunatic from the Berserker skill tree. There are a ton of other command abilities that are available in the game, but these I feel like are some of the best that you can acquire very early on. Especially since at the time of recording this video, this is off of the demo and I did not have early access to the game. And the reason I really enjoy these skills is because Lunatic temporarily increases attack speed but stops automatic break gauge recovery. Blood Weapon restores the HP based on the amount of damage dealt. And then Summon Tachi increases damage taken and then also damage dealt. Basically, this makes you pretty much a glass cannon. However, using it on classes like Monk, Samurai, Ronin, Knight, and or Swordsman, you'll be able to basically deal out a ton of damage while also keeping yourself relatively healthy without any effort at all. Now, after having played the demo, there were two jobs that I really enjoyed using the job action from and not actually using them in combat, even though those skills and those classes were incredibly useful as a main job skill as well. And those two classes were Samurai with the job action Mikio Shisui, which temporarily increases your MP recovery from normal attacks and restores MP when parrying. Combine that with Lunatic or Haste or any of the other skills that I mentioned before, and you never run out of MP for just about anything. And then there's Berserk from, well, Berserker, which temporarily increases attack in addition to temporarily decreases the chance of being staggered and increases the chance of staggering enemies. Both these skills have incredible synergy, especially when using these skills that we were talking about in the command abilities. So basically, Strangers of Paradise has incredible synergy all across the board with all of the jobs, especially just looking at it from what we saw in the demo. So in this case, just to show you guys a little bit of gameplay as well as all of the skills and synergy, let me use Lunatic, Summon Tachi, and Blood Weapon, while also then parrying the ability from the Coral. As you can see, I just gain MP back naturally and super quickly. But if I were to use another skill like Mikio Shisui, then I'm also going to gain MP back even faster. So let's use that and show you. As you can see, I'm just making a ton of MP with minimal effort, allowing me to spam abilities on Monk, and this works just as well on most other classes. But those are a couple things that I really wish I knew upon starting the Strangers of Paradise demo, as well as thinking about these are things that you should know going into the main portion of the game. But before the release, if you're on the fence about the skills, synergies, and the job trees, then look no further, because you can basically unlock everything in the game and they will have some sort of benefit to all of your other classes. What makes it even better is that these skills might only just be good for the early game, as there is an entirely separate set of jobs that were not available in the demo, each with their own skills and actions that we cannot see otherwise. But that's everything that we're going to be covering in this video. Leave a comment down below if you guys have any questions whatsoever, and I'll be responding to them and also be making follow-up videos. I'll be playing this game on both the PS5 and the PC version, so I'll be doing side-by-side comparisons, guides for both your early and mid-game, and then late-game builds, and some other general tips and tricks that I think you guys would actually enjoy. So thank you guys again for watching. Stay awesome, stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. I'm out.